Hi, I am here today with Raju Vagesna from Zoho, Zoho's chief evangelist. We are here to talk about significant improvements being made to Zoho One. Raju, could we start with the history of Zoho One, why it started, why it was made, and where we are today?
Yeah, when we launched Zoho One in 2017, it was about 8 years ago. It was a different market back then. Where apps were rationed, and every new application was a new negotiation and all of that. So there is creating and assembling an application set suite for running a business wasn't very simple. We wanted to change that. We wanted to disrupt the model. That was when we introduced Zoho One, where we said, let's take all the applications we had. Back then, it was around 30 applications, bundle it together, offer it at a reasonable price. Back then, it was, say, $30 an employee, and don't have restrictions on how many users have access to each application. And trying to simplify the entire process of procuring, deploying, and using of applications. And back then, it was pretty complex. Not to say that it has gotten much easier in the industry, although we made it significantly easier with Zoho One over the years. But it was much, much worse back then. So we wanted to disrupt the market, and that's why we introduced Zoho One. And it was a pretty disruptive idea back then. And it continues to be a disruptive idea even today, the way we are doing. We expanded the number of applications to 50, around 50 from about 30, uh, without changing the price much. And typically, you would see the nickel and diming kick in whenever you launch new functionality, whenever you launch a new app. We eliminated that aspect of it. Said we are keeping it fairly simple, and customers started appreciating it. They realized that, hey, I don't have to worry about going and procuring a new application from a new vendor, new negotiation, new pricing contract, new support contract, and all that stuff. So we simplified the application procurement and application deployment process with the launch of Zoho One. Obviously, the industry followed, and not just within Zoho on the B2B market, but even the B2C market, we have seen a lot of One suites come up since then in the last 8 years.
The market has changed over time, expectations have changed over time. What does the market look like today, and how does Zoho One fit into it?
The market is transitioning from individual applications to suites. Customers are demanding that it's not worth picking individual applications. I would rather get all the complementary applications in a single package. We see that with sales related applications, customer support related applications, finance applications, HR applications. We have seen the rise of suites out there. And of course, at Zoho, we do offer multiple suites. I mean, we have CRM plus, Service plus, similarly, Marketing plus, Finance plus, People plus, and all of that on top of our workplace suites. We have these individual suites, but then Zoho One is a master suite. Those aggregate whatever is available in each of these individual suites and say, okay, I just want to license one suite. Then that comes to Zoho One. This is the master suite. So at that point, you're, as a business owner, no longer licensing applications or suites. You're really licensing peace of mind because you don't want to worry about software at all. It's like you uh, pay for utilities for your business. You don't worry about where your utility provider is getting their electricity from, whether it is solar panels or water or maybe coal, doesn't matter. You're saying, are the lights on or not, is what you care, and you pay for the usage. Zoho One is getting into that territory. You don't worry about how many applications are there. The question is, I'm trying to solve a problem. Does the suite have the right tools to solve my problem or not?
There's also the possibility of tools I will need in the future. I actually spoke to a customer yesterday who uses Zoho One at her business. They all do. And she said that whenever a new problem needs to be solved, They say, well, we have Zoho One. Let's find a solution in the suite. And it lets them solve a problem quickly. It also lets them just not have to worry about finding a next app to do it. Within Zoho One, it is almost guaranteed to exist.
Pretty much in the B2B realm, people initially were surprised to discover that there is a tool for the problem they are trying to solve within the suite. And now they have got come to expect that from Zoho. Meaning, if they say, hey, I do not have a tool for this particular problem, and they reach out to us and say, I know you guys are working on it. When can I expect it? Which is a good change.
Which brings us to today. We are announcing a host of new features for Zoho One, including features centered around user experience. Let's start there. How is the user experience for Zoho One evolving today?
As I mentioned earlier, we started as a bundle of applications where we packaged all these applications under a single umbrella. Now we are moving towards a suite. Can all these applications behave as one, delivering one experience? What if all these applications have a similar behavior and make sure that user is using the power of each of these applications yet get a unified experience? And that is the next big step we are taking in the update that we are launching today. Well, if you look at your let's say an iPhone or an Android phone, there is an iPhone experience, there is an Android experience. You get to experience each of these applications where each of these apps may have their own individual details on that particular experience, but overall there is an iOS experience or an Android experience. What is the Zoho experience? How will each of these applications be familiar within the suite? And that is the change. But then you get into some challenges where how do you go and organize 50 applications and make them behave the same, and each of those are targeting a different set of audience? And that is the challenge we are solving here with this.
Can we see this new user experience?
Sure. First thing to note is if you look at the new Zoho One interface, the first challenge is how do you take 50 different applications and pull them together, or how do you group them? The way we're grouping them is based on how you work. You know, let's say you want to get things done. You, you want to be in that focused mode. Go to a corner. You have all your necessary tools, and you get things done.
You've seen me in the office. I bet.
And then that is why we created something called a personal space. But you are in a collaboration mode. You want to talk to other people. Then we have an organization space. And then there are other specialized spaces, like we have the sales space, marketing space, finance space, and all of that. These are specialized spaces. To some extent, you see the similarities in a house. For example, if you're in a work mode, you go to your workroom and get things done. But if you're in a collaboration mode, you either go to your living room and where you have by default the expectation is that you are in the collaboration mindset. And then there are always a specialized spaces, even in a house, where you have the kitchen, you have the garage, you have other rooms out there that are meant for a particular space, for a particular act. That those are those specialized spaces we have in the context of the sales space, finance space, and all of that. So basically, taken the concept based on how we behave as human beings. So can we group the tools that reflect people's behavior?
Yeah.
And that's how we grouped it: the personal space, organization space, sales, and all of those. In each of these spaces, you get to see the tools that you need for that. If you're in a personal space, for example, we have the mail, the click, which is for chats, calls, and all of that. Calendaring, you have work drive, which is your file storage, your task management, notes, and all of that. So we have organized a lot of these tools. So pretty much all the 50 applications that you have within Zoho are organized into groups as well.
Yeah. So it's less about for the user, it's less about what kind of application do I need and more about what kind of work do I need to do right now.
Exactly. And the context is the key. We are eliminating the additional cognitive load on where the customer has to think which application is needed for what purpose. We are actually bringing applications to the user. So we are introducing some concepts like boards. For example, let's say you are in the getting things done mode. You want to get some things done. We have something called tasks, where you can get all these tasks, and you have your personal tasks. But in fact, we have multiple boards in the tasks. Sometimes you're focused on your personal tasks, and the personal task may exist within some tools, but sometimes you want to get things done in the context of a project. So from our project management tools, we bring those tasks and directly list all the tasks, so that you don't have to worry about going and determining which tool you're using and then going there and filtering down to the task module. We are bringing that in. And if you are in group task mode, similarly, there is a dashboard for group tasks, and that dashboard automatically shows you all the tasks that are in there. Similarly, if you want to know tasks that you have across the system, you can go to the unified task view, and you see tasks across the system. Task is the context. You're getting things done irrespective of which applications you have these tasks listed. They come to you instead of you going to them. You can apply the same concept across the board. We do that in notes too. There's a concept of note boards, and in fact we do that even in the context of uh, dashboards as well. End of the day, dash is another type of board. You can create your own dashboards, but with Zoho, we have a lot of these pre-built dashboards that are in the system. We certainly make all of those available, where you can pretty much select whatever dashboard that you want, and that dashboard will give you all the relevant information across your business. So this is a dashboard that was created in Zoho Analytics. You can look at any of these dashboards and do some analysis. In fact, we included ZI in there. You can which can analyze each of these reports and give you some insight from it. But there are tens of dashboards and hundreds of reports pre-built, where you can look at all the available dashboards within the system, and if you want to add it, just hit the plus button, and that dashboard is going to be available within Zoho One. So we made it really easy for the user to just navigate and use the system. And let's say the user doesn't have the applications they need. They can go to our tools and they can create their own application. Again, through AI or other means, they can create their own application. And there are cases where they may be using third party applications. Bring those third party applications into the system, and because we support single sign on, automatically brings right in, and integrating with the marketplace and all of that. The goal here is users should not be worrying about which application a particular thing is. Remove the friction, remove the context, and you're blurring the lines between applications, where application comes to you instead of you going to the application.
It's less thinking about where I need to find things. It's more of like you're saying, I have a task to accomplish. All my tasks that are there, whether it is for me individually, whether it's for my department, I just need to click on tasks. It'll come to me. I need to write something. I can just click on that and everything will come to me. The ability to say everything is at my fingertips, but also I don't even need to really think to have it there in front of me.
That's the idea. And given the broad set of applications, we have a tool for every use. But if there is no tool, they can create one for themselves. And if you're an administrator, you can create a tool and deploy for your entire organization. We have a lot of pre-built spaces, but if you want your own space, well, you can create your own space and pull all the necessary tools from the toolkit and add it to that space. And there are subtle things but important things throughout. The communication is another key part. Now we built this communication bar at the bottom. If I go back to Zoho home screen, Zoho One home screen, I can now have a chat with someone. Now it's not just chat. I can do an audio call, a video call, or a screen sharing session. And we are also adding Zia here, Ask Zia, where you can not only chat with a colleague, you can also chat with Zia as well, where Zia will help you because Zia is integrated throughout Zoho. Zia will help you answer questions. And if you have any questions about the product itself, of course, we have integrated support right in, where from here you can talk to us, chat with us, and talk to our community, explore, and all of that. So it's It's a seamless system where we are trying to blur the lines between which application to use when, but again, it comes to you than you going to an application.
All of this data that's being pulled into these unique dashboards is extremely impressive. For a user like myself, I come in the mornings, I have to-do lists, I have comments to address, I have unread click messages. Do those all exist in one place within Zoho One as well?
There is, I think the dashboard is a good place. The beauty is you can add your own widgets that is very specific to you, and you can always create your own widgets as well. But on top of it, we have pre-created a few things. You have something called an action panel. Action panel lets you take actions. For example, we often have approvals that are coming in. Maybe an invoice requires your approval. Maybe a deal requires your approval before they move forward. Sometimes it is a document that requires your signature through Zoho Sign. Other times, a travel request approval, or it could be an expense report approval. Typically you have this approval from 10 different places. Now, what if you can collate everything together onto a single place? And that's what we have done with the quick action panel. And apart from approvals, we also have a planner where you can plan your day based on all the information it has within the system. It'll also make some suggestions on what you could do in the morning and what you could do in the evening, aggregating data that you may have across various applications and pulls it together in a single view. Now, you want to act on it. Let's say you want to create a task, you want to do something. For that, it's not just an action panel. We have something called a quick navigation way. Let's say you want to create a task, but create a task may be in a specific application that may be very, very specific to that particular instance. Like you may want to create a task in a project. Sometimes a task might be related to a particular customer in a CRM system. So you can select one and you can create a task, and that will take you to the appropriate application and take you to the create task panel for that application. So again, a quick navigation to your destination, irrespective of which application it is in. So you're bringing all of these actions together so that you can quickly get to it. It's all part of the unification, whether you're planning your day, whether you're approving something or acting on something, all of these unified in a single place.
And in all cases, it is existing on one platform. So whatever data you need, whatever you need, whether it's within Zoho or third party, it exists on the home screen or very close to it.
Very close to it. And it's not just these integrations within the Zoho applications, but also third party applications. You can bring in any third party applications you may be using, bring that into the system. So, to some extent, this becomes the front door to your business. So, what we are really doing is laying the foundation for what is ahead here in the industry, where bringing everything together under a single umbrella, providing a consistent interface, and that is at the front end. At the back end, we are knitting together a lot of back end things, the plumbing work, which is often pretty boring, but extremely necessary. We are doing that plumbing work at the back end, but providing a unified interface for the front end. And now, fast forward to the AI world, the customers are ready for what lies ahead.
This sounds like a wonderful solution for what has become a true problem in how modern work operates.
Certainly, we are excited about this. So, this is one of many changes we're rolling out with this release.
All of this is really exciting. Thank you, Raju.
Thank you.